Tonight the sky is a blanket, but it is not a blanket of safety. It is a velvet shroud stitched with light from 1,000,000,000,000 murders. The stars you see are not gentle diamonds. They are the glares of cosmic giants watching a small, fragile world. Close your eyes and let us remember why our ancestors were terrified of the dark above, and why the latest secrets of science prove they were right to fear the cosmic unknown. The fear is not out there. It is here, buried deep in our history and hidden in the blinding light of every star. It is time for a history for sleep that will keep you awake. The Sun-Eater Demon. In ancient Hindu myths, there is a demon named Rahu who steals the nectar of immortality. When the sun and moon tell the gods about his crime, Rahu is beheaded before he can swallow the potion. His immortal, disembodied head flies into the sky, forever chasing the sun and the moon for revenge. When Rahu catches one of the celestial bodies, he swallows it whole, and that is what causes a solar or lunar eclipse. Since he has no body, the sun or moon quickly passes right through his detached neck and reappears. This terrifying belief led people to scream and bang pots to scare the sky demon away during an eclipse. The fear was not just a story, it was a desperate, loud attempt to save the world from total darkness and the demon's endless hunger. The shadow on the earth was seen as the physical evidence of a cosmic murder happening right above their heads. This makes the most beautiful event in the sky a sign of eternal, bitter vengeance. The wolf who devours Norse myths tell of two giant, powerful wolves named Skoll and Hati, who have been chasing the sun and moon since the beginning of time. Every single day and night, these cosmic beasts relentlessly try to devour the celestial spheres, and their eventual success is the absolute signal of the world's end, Ragnarok. During a solar eclipse, the Vikings did not see a natural alignment of planets. They saw one of the wolves finally getting close enough for a taste. They believed that the thin darkness was the shadow of the wolf's open jaw closing over the sun. This explains why they felt an overwhelming panic and a sudden need to prepare for the final, cold battle. The deepest fear in this story is not the chase, but the certainty of the wolves' final victory. The myths promise that one day they will finally succeed, plunging the entire world into an icy, permanent darkness. Every eclipse is a practice run for the end of everything, a reminder that the world exists only at the mercy of two hungry ancient beasts, the eclipse and the plague. Throughout history, especially in medieval Europe, an eclipse was viewed as a physical messenger carrying disaster, not just a prediction of it. People believe that the brief period of darkness caused the air itself to become poisonous, carrying the seeds of the plague and other fatal illnesses. In Transylvanian folklore, it was said that during an eclipse, a toxic dew would fall from the sky, corrupting any food or water it touched. They would rush to cover all their wells and bring their animals inside, treating the darkness as a chemical weapon deployed from the heavens. Imagine the terror of an event that looked beautiful but was actively trying to murder you. This fear was so strong that even a century ago, during the 1918 solar eclipse, many Navajo people believed it was an evil omen that foreshadowed the great Spanish flu pandemic. The sudden dip in temperature, the eerie quality of the light, it all served as proof that the cosmos was actively turning its back on humanity and letting the sickness spread. The waning of the moon god. In ancient Mesopotamia, the Sumerians viewed the night sky as a battlefield of gods and celestial powers. When a lunar eclipse occurred, it was interpreted as the powerful moon god, Sin, being attacked and overwhelmed by 7 evil demons, forcing him to momentarily disappear from the night. The disappearance of Sin was not just a spiritual defeat, it was a physical threat to the earth, as the gods were thought to be deeply connected to the fate of the king. To save the country, the king would go into hiding, and a common person would be dressed up and secretly enthroned as a substitute king. This substitute would bear the celestial attack and any death that followed, protecting the true ruler and the nation from the moon god's defeat. Once the eclipse passed and the moon god returned, the substitute king would be ritually executed. The sheer terror of knowing you were made king only to be murdered by the stars is a chilling thought. The Tewa tribe's angry sun, the Tewa people of New Mexico, believed that a solar eclipse was caused by the sun, whom they saw as a great angry deity deciding to leave the sky. The sun would cover his face and go into his home in the underworld, turning his back on humanity because of some great offence or act of evil that had occurred on Earth. This was not a quick celestial event. It was a god's deliberate act of abandonment. The darkness was a punishment, a stark reminder of their fragility and reliance on the sun's grace. The Tewa would not look up, but instead would pray in their homes, hoping to appease the angered deity so he would return and not leave them in eternal cold night. This ancient understanding is chilling because it perfectly captures our modern psychological fear of being utterly alone. The thought that the very source of life could simply decide to abandon us, rather than being mechanically blocked by another object, makes the act feel infinitely more personal and terrifying. The sun's return was never guaranteed, only hoped for. The dragon who ate heaven. In ancient China, the most famous explanation for an eclipse was that a celestial dragon, known as the Tianggu, had chosen to attack and devour the sun. The Chinese word for eclipse, qi, literally means to eat, showing how deep this belief was in their culture. The emperors employed teams of court astronomers whose job was not to predict the eclipse, but to prepare for it. The moment an eclipse began, the army would be ordered to fire arrows into the sky, while the people below would beat drums and gongs with terrifying noise. Their goal was to make enough chaos to scare the dragon away. The failure of the astronomers to predict a 2134 BC eclipse led to their swift execution for treason, a clear sign of the high stakes involved. The dragon was not a friendly myth. It was a cosmic killer that held the fate of the entire empire in its jaws. Every loud noise was a prayer, and every prayer was a desperate battle for survival. The jaguar's thirst for light. The ancient Maya people of Central America feared that during an eclipse, the sun god was being attacked by a colossal black jaguar. This terrifying jungle beast, representing the darkest night, would fight the sun in the sky, and if the sun lost, the world would be plunged into a permanent hungry darkness. The Maya had such accurate astronomical knowledge that they could predict eclipses with incredible precision, but this knowledge only magnified their fear. They knew exactly when the jaguar was coming. To help the sun god in his battle, they would make loud human sacrifices, believing the blood would give the sun the strength to win the celestial war. This historical fact reveals the deep, desperate terror that ancient cultures felt when facing the astronomical unknown. A simple shadow in the sky was proof of a violent celestial fight for life, requiring the most extreme earthly measures to influence the outcome. The terror of a jaguar in the jungle is nothing compared to the cosmic one, the prophecy of the four blood moons. As recently as 2014 and 2015, the appearance of 4 consecutive total lunar eclipses, known as the Tetrad, caused massive global panic, particularly among some religious groups. These 4 blood moons were interpreted by many as the literal fulfillment of prophecies predicting the end of the world and the final judgment. The moon during a total lunar eclipse often appears a deep, terrifying red colour, caused by sunlight filtering through the Earth's atmosphere. To the fearful, this crimson colour was not a simple scientific effect. It was the literal colour of blood, a wound in the sky. It seemed to confirm that the heavens were finally fulfilling their ancient promise of universal destruction. This modern fear shows that even with all our science, the human mind is still deeply wired to see omens of disaster in the sky. When the night turns blood red, all the old whispered stories of the apocalypse return. It confirms that the sky is capable of terrifying us even today, just as it terrified the people of 1,000 years ago. the quarrelling sky lovers. The Inuit people of the Arctic tell a different, but equally chilling story of the sky. They believe the sun, Melina the goddess, and the moon, Anningan the god, are brother and sister who constantly fight. A solar eclipse occurs when the male moon god finally catches his sister, the sun, after a long chase. The two deities are not meant to be together. Their union in the sky brings about the terrifying darkness. The sister, Melina, is always trying to escape his pursuit across the heavens, and the eclipse is a moment of violation and forced darkness. A lunar eclipse, by contrast, is caused by the moon god getting so hungry from his run that he stops to eat. This myth personifies the celestial mechanics as a story of perpetual violent pursuit and hunger. The sun's light is not a gift, but a perpetual escape. The darkness of the eclipse is not an alignment, but the moment a cosmic predator finally catches its fleeing prey. The sky is an endless loop of cosmic fighting and terror, played out for all to see. Stars that are not there. When the world became dark during an eclipse, the ancient Batamaliba people of West Africa would see it as a sign that the sun and moon were fighting. For them, this was a cosmic instruction. The people on Earth were required to drop whatever they were doing and resolve all conflicts with their neighbours, no matter how small. The idea was that the divine conflict in the heavens was a reflection of the human conflict on Earth. They believed that the only way to make the celestial bodies stop fighting and bring the light back was for humans to achieve absolute peace in their communities. If they failed to reconcile, the celestial darkness might just become permanent. This terrifying belief made the simple, natural event of an eclipse a moment of total social terror and moral urgency. The shadow was not just a shadow. It was a cosmic stopwatch forcing you to confront your enemies or face the possibility of eternal night. The universe, in this view, will not tolerate human fighting. The Earth's true shadow. A lunar eclipse is caused by the Earth's shadow falling directly upon the moon. But this shadow is not a clean, neat circle. It is a vast, colossal cone of darkness that stretches nearly 1 million miles into space. A terrifying, invisible field of shadow cast by our own world. We often think of space as pure light and darkness, but the Earth is constantly projecting this immense dark cone of its presence into the cosmos. Any object that passes into this cosmic wake instantly becomes a ghost, invisible to the sun's light. The moon is simply the closest object that routinely travels through the terrifying shadow of our planet. This idea gives a terrifying sense of agency to our own world. The Earth is not just a passive object, it is an active player, casting a 1 million-mile-long black sword into the solar system. The moon is just a temporary victim, but that shadow is always there, waiting in the blackness for the next unsuspecting wanderer to cross its dark path. The star's dark duplicate. In ancient Persia, the sight of a total solar eclipse was often connected to the belief in a toxic twin or an evil duplicate of the sun. This dark demonic twin would rise from the depths of the earth during the day and try to usurp the power of the true shining sun, bringing a temporary evil reign of shadows. The temporary darkness was the moment of the evil twin's victory, a sign that the forces of darkness had gained an advantage over the forces of light. This was a direct, existential battle between cosmic good and cosmic evil, and the people on Earth were witnessing the most important moment of the war. They lived in terror of the day the evil twin would win permanently. This is a more personal kind of celestial terror. The sun you depend on is fighting for its life against its own dark reflection, and for a few minutes you watch it lose. The sun we see is a beautiful light, but the fear reminds us there may be an equally powerful, shadowy version of it that is only waiting for its chance to seize the sky forever. The curse of the comet's hair. The word disaster itself comes from the ancient Greek words dis, meaning ill or bad, and aster, meaning star. This etymology shows that for the ancient Greeks and Romans, any unexpected celestial event, especially the arrival of a comet, was literally viewed as an evil star, a curse sent from the gods. Comets were often called hairy stars because of their long flowing tails. In many cultures, this hair was thought to be a toxic stream of liquid fire or poison. The Roman writer Pliny the Elder said comets were blood-red, threatening swords of fire, and were always followed by wars, epidemics, and the deaths of great leaders. Imagine a world where the unexpected appearance of a celestial object could trigger widespread panic, mass prayer, and changes in political leadership, all because the people believed the sky was actively trying to kill them. This demonstrates how deeply the fear of the stars was woven into the very language and fate of the ancient world. Halley's excommunicated comet. The famous Halley's comet appeared in 1456, right after the Ottoman Empire's victory over the Christian forces in Constantinople, a defeat that shook Europe. Its sudden appearance in the sky was instantly linked to the political and military disaster on Earth, causing widespread hysteria and fear of the end times. The fear became so intense that Pope Calixtus III reportedly ordered special prayers against the comet, which was widely seen as an instrument of the devil. Although the historical record is disputed, the story goes that the Pope symbolically excommunicated the comet, declaring the celestial phenomenon to be an enemy of God. This event shows the terrifying power the sky once held over the highest authorities on Earth. They were not just afraid of a rock and ice ball, they were afraid of a direct message from the heavens, one so evil and powerful that the Church had to use its highest spiritual weapon to fight back against a star. The comet and the king's death. The Bayeux Tapestry, a famous historical embroidered cloth that tells the story of the Norman conquest of England in 1066, shows a terrifying image of Halley's comet. The comet is depicted as a horrifying, gigantic star with an immense, wild tail of fire, and the figures below point at it in terror. The Saxons saw the comet as a devastating omen of doom for their king Harold II. Within months of the comet's appearance, the Norman invasion was successful, and King Harold was killed at the Battle of Hastings. The comet was retroactively credited with predicting the death of the king and the conquest of the country. For the people of that time, the heavens were simply a terrifying clock that told the future. They did not need to see a future movie to know the end, they just needed to look up. The message from the stars was clear and inescapable. One flash of light could rewrite the history of nations and murder a king. The Aztec Emperor's doom. In 1519, just before the Spanish conquerors arrived in Mexico, the last Aztec emperor, Montezuma II, saw a bright comet streak across the sky. The celestial event was immediately interpreted by his priests and astrologers as the darkest possible omen, a sign foretelling the downfall of his entire empire and the death of the ruler himself. The emperor was reportedly paralyzed by this fear, believing the gods had sent a clear signal that his reign was over. His lack of decisive action against the invaders was partly rooted in this religious terror. He felt he was fighting not just a human army, but a divine and celestial judgment. The comet had already decided his fate. The fact is terrifying because it suggests that a simple, beautiful celestial event can shatter the will of a great leader and cause the collapse of an entire civilization. The comet was more powerful than the Spanish army. It was a cosmic assassin travelling across millions of miles of space just to deliver a single, terrifying message of doom to one man. The fear of the invisible comet. Before the invention of the telescope, every comet that appeared in the sky was a total shock, a cosmic object that had seemingly materialized out of nowhere, defying the predictable order of the heavens. This sense of sudden, unannounced appearance was the root of its terrifying power as an omen. A comet's unpredictable nature made it a messenger of chaos, breaking the perfect, orderly machine of the universe that people relied on for their calendars and seasons. It wasn't just a star, it was a wound in the fabric of the night sky, a sign that the fundamental laws governing the cosmos were not to be trusted and could be broken at any time. Even today, scientists are still finding invisible comets, small, dark objects that spend most of their time lurking in the cold, dark edges of the solar system. The universe is still full of surprise visitors that can appear without warning, proving the ancient fear of the unpredictable celestial messenger was based on a very real cosmic truth. The Norse skull flakes. In Norse mythology, the giants were slain by the gods, and the world was created from the giant Ymir's enormous corpse. The earth was made from his flesh, and the oceans from his blood. However, his skull was placed over the world to form the dome of the sky. The chilling part of this belief is what happens when Ymir's skull starts to crumble. The Norse believed that comets streaking across the sky were not ice and rock. They were literal flakes of the giant's skull falling through the air. Every comet was a sign that the very dome of the sky was cracking and disintegrating above them. This makes the night sky less of a beautiful window and more of a fragile bone ceiling that could collapse at any moment. The stars are fixed to the bone, and the comets are the signs of structural failure. The ancient Norse were terrified of the sky because they knew that the roof of the world was literally made of the dead. The sickness of the zodiac. For centuries, people believed in the zodiac man, an image where each part of the human body was ruled by a different sign of the zodiac constellations. This system was used in medical astrology to determine the best time for a treatment or surgery. The heavens literally controlled your health. The terrifying implication of this system is that if the stars were in a bad position, your body would naturally suffer. A comet, an eclipse, or an unusual planetary alignment was not just a cosmic event. It was a physical threat to your heart, brain, or stomach. Doctors would refuse to operate if the astrological chart was considered unlucky. The night sky was a terrifying, all-powerful medical chart. You could be perfectly healthy, but if the distant, unfeeling light of a star moved into the wrong position, it could cause a tumour or a fever. This belief turned the beauty of the constellations into a blueprint for your eventual sickness and death. The shadow's silent whisper. When a total solar eclipse happens, it is not just the light that changes. The natural world goes silent. Birds stop singing, insects stop chirping, and animals become confused and frightened. This eerie, profound silence in the middle of the day is a terrifying psychological phenomenon. For those who have witnessed it, the absolute cessation of sound feels like the world holding its breath, a brief moment where nature itself believes the end has come. The silence itself is a primal, unnerving sound. It suggests that even without any human fear or myth, the planet instinctively recognizes the darkness as a sign of cosmic catastrophe. The chilling fact is that this silence is a natural reaction to the sun's sudden disappearance, proving that the animals are just as reliant and terrified as we are. The sun's light is life, and the shadow's sudden, cold silence is a momentary death. The world stops for a moment, waiting to see if the light will ever return. The comet pill hoax. In 1910, the Earth passed through the tail of Halley's Comet. Scientists discovered that the tail contained cyanogen gas, a deadly poison. Although the gas was too thin to cause any harm, the media and the public panicked, believing the Earth would be gassed to death by the comet's tail. Charlatans immediately began selling comet pills and comet insurance to terrified Americans. People rushed to buy gas masks and tried to seal their homes with tape and wet rags, preparing to wait out the poison cloud. This hysteria shows how little it takes for our deep-seated ancient fear of celestial objects to resurface in the modern world. The fear of a poisoned sky was more real to them than the scientific facts. It was a modern replay of the Transylvanian folklore about toxic dew falling during an eclipse, just updated with a scientific word, cyanogen. Even in the age of science, we still look at the sky and see a malevolent chemical threat, reminding us that we're just fragile meat bags in a cosmic wind. The Earth's hidden scar, There is an invisible boundary in space around the Earth called the kill zone. Any supernova, a massive, exploding star that goes off within 50 light-years of Earth, would instantly strip away our atmosphere's ozone layer with a deadly blast of gamma rays. This would leave all life on the surface unprotected from the sun's radiation. This 50 light-year boundary is a sphere of potential destruction that constantly surrounds us. While no star close to us is predicted to explode soon, the fact remains that a cosmic event happening years before your birth, millions of miles away, could still kill every human on Earth by burning their skin and corrupting their crops. The sheer distance of this threat is what makes it so terrifying. You cannot see it coming, and you cannot stop it. The explosion could have happened centuries ago, and we're only now seeing the light and the approaching gamma ray death. We live in a cosmic shooting range, and we are completely unaware when the trigger is pulled. The true meaning of Wunderzeichen. In 16th century Germany, unexplained celestial events like comets, strange clouds, or even the northern lights were labelled as Wunderzeichen, which means wonder signs. These were not beautiful sights, but terrifying omens of theological doom and divine anger, requiring immediate repentance. Broadsheets from the time describe horrifying aerial battles, such as a fiery, bloody ray bisecting the sun in 1554, followed by a clash between ghost cavalry. 7 years later in Nuremberg, citizens reported seeing a skirmish between unidentified orbs in the sky. These sights were interpreted as the actual war for heaven being fought above their heads. The fear in these accounts is that the heavens were no longer a peaceful home for the gods, but a violent, open battlefield. When you looked up, you weren't looking at stars. You were watching the opening shots of the last judgment. The entire cosmos was a weapon, and God's anger was being made visible by fire and blood in the sky. The gods' cigar butts. To the native inhabitants of Mexico, meteors were often viewed with a sense of immense fear and spiritual danger. They were considered to be the actual arrows of the stellar gods, shot down to strike animals or people. Because of this belief, people would be terrified to walk outside at night. Even more bizarrely, some tribes believed meteors were the cigar butts, or even the excrement of the stellar gods. This image turns the idea of a beautiful shooting star into something repulsive and frightening. The act of wishing on a star is replaced by the terror of being struck by the gods' celestial filth as they travel across the sky. This makes the night sky less of a beautiful cathedral and more of a dangerous divine garbage dump. Every streak of light is a falling piece of celestial waste, a warning or a weapon. The ancient fear was that the gods were actively using the sky to send us not gifts, but dangerous, fiery trash that could kill you instantly. The Earth's hidden ring of junk. The Earth is now surrounded by a terrifying, invisible ring of space junk. There are over 34,000 objects larger than 4 inches being tracked, but millions of smaller, untraceable pieces of debris, like chipped paint and rocket exhaust particles, are moving at thousands of miles per hour. This ring of junk is so dense and fast that a piece of chipped paint travelling at high speed can cause catastrophic damage to a satellite or even a future spacecraft. If we do not solve the problem, a single collision could trigger a chain reaction, creating so much debris that all satellites are destroyed, making future space travel impossible. This is the ultimate self-inflicted cosmic terror. The stars and planets did not kill us. Our own trash did. We have turned the space immediately around our planet into a deadly, uncrossable minefield of high-speed debris. The only safe route is to venture into the vast, dark emptiness beyond the orbital graveyard we created. The asteroid that broke time. It only takes a single rock, approximately 0.6 miles wide, flying through space to threaten the entire existence of the human species. The extinction-level asteroid that wiped out the dinosaurs 66 million years ago was only about 6 miles wide, a tiny pebble on the cosmic scale, but enough to rewrite Earth's history. The terrifying reality is that there are countless large asteroids and comets in our solar system, and while it is unlikely, another catastrophic impact could happen at any time. We're constantly tracking thousands of them, but with so many objects lurking in the dark, it is impossible to spot them all before they enter our atmosphere. We are living in a temporary state of grace. The entire history of humanity is only possible because no rock has hit us recently. The end of our civilization may not be a war or a plague, but a silent, unseen threat that has been drifting toward us for millions of years. The stars are beautiful, but they are also full of high-speed bullets, the solar storm apocalypse. Our own sun, the source of all life, is also a terrifying threat. It can unleash coronal mass ejections, CMEs, which send magnetized particles rushing through space. If one is aimed at Earth, it can create a geomagnetic storm strong enough to disrupt communications and destroy power grids globally. The most powerful event in modern history was the 1859 Carrington event, which caused telegraph wires to short-circuit, sparking fires and giving operators electric shocks. If a storm of that magnitude were to hit today's hyper-connected world, it could cause an internet apocalypse, blacking out all global communication and power for months or years. The chance of such a superstorm hitting us is estimated to be between 1.6% and 12% per decade, a ticking time bomb powered by the very star that keeps us alive. The sun is our benefactor and our ultimate potential destroyer. The end of civilization could come not from a rogue star, but from the fiery temper of our own parent star. The omen of sneezing cats. During the appearance of a major comet in the 16th century, people in Westphalia, Germany, reported an unusual outbreak of sneezing sickness among the local cat population. The farmers instantly blamed the comet, believing its toxic cosmic energy was falling from the sky and sickening their farm animals. At the same time, others reported that livestock were being born with strange birth defects, such as having too many legs or multiple heads, which they also attributed to the comet's evil influence. The idea was that the comet's passage through the celestial sphere was corrupting life itself before it was even born, a cosmic curse upon the Earth. This demonstrates a frightening human tendency to link any disaster, no matter how small or strange, to a celestial event. A sick cat was not just a sick cat, it was a divine sign. The stars were thought to be actively involved in the smallest details of earthly life, making the cosmos a personal, malevolent force. The great cosmic conveyor belt scientists have discovered something called the dark flow, a mysterious uniform movement of galaxy clusters and massive structures in one direction across the observable universe. This means that a large part of the cosmos is being pulled towards something unseen, a cosmic conveyor belt of unimaginable scale. The terrifying thing is that the dark flow cannot be fully explained by known gravitational forces, suggesting a gigantic invisible mass is lurking just outside the universe we can observe. The entire observable universe is being dragged by a hidden entity whose mass and nature we can only guess at, a monstrous, unseen presence. This phenomenon suggests that we are not living in a perfectly balanced cosmos. We are moving toward an unknown destination, pulled by an enormous, gravitational nightmare. It gives a sense of irresistible cosmic movement, proving the ancient fear of being an insignificant object dragged along by forces beyond our control is absolutely true. The mystery of the space whistles. The Voyager 1 and 2 spacecrafts, launched in 1977, are now hurtling out into interstellar space, carrying the famous Golden Record, a time capsule of human civilization. The terrifying thing is that both probes have been hearing and recording mysterious low-frequency plasma wave sounds, or whistles. Scientists have struggled to identify the exact source of these eerie periodic whistles. Although they believe the sound is a product of plasma waves in the vast empty space between stars, the human mind immediately asks, is this the sound of the void itself? Is this the sound of the ultimate unknowable silence being broken by something else? The idea of a time capsule carrying the best of humanity being greeted by an unexplained low-frequency whistle from the interstellar darkness is chilling. It suggests that deep space is not silent, but is instead making a low, periodic noise that we cannot understand. The probe is carrying our hopes and is being answered by the sound of something else. The Great Filter's Silent Watch. The Fermi paradox asks a terrifying question. If the universe is so vast and full of stars, why haven't we found any other advanced civilizations? The most chilling answer is the Great Filter, a theoretical barrier that prevents life from developing past a certain point. The Great Filter could be a stage in evolution that is almost impossible to pass, or it could be a cosmic, self-inflicted disaster, like a nuclear war or climate collapse, that wipes out a species before it reaches the stars. The question is whether the Great Filter is behind us, or terrifyingly still ahead of us. If the Great Filter is ahead, it means that almost every species in the universe is doomed to face some massive universal test that they cannot survive. Our peaceful, silent cosmos may not be empty. It may be full of ancient ruins, the silent ghosts of civilizations that reached for the stars but were wiped out by a cosmic law we have yet to face. The universe's silent death. The universe is currently expanding at an accelerating rate. This will eventually lead to a terrifying scenario called the heat death, where the universe will become cold, dark, and utterly lifeless. All stars will burn out, and all matter will break down. After trillions of years, the universe will become a perfectly uniform, cold soup of particles. Nothing will ever happen again. No heat, no light, no energy, just eternal, motionless, absolute zero silence. This is the ultimate, inescapable cosmic terror. The promise that all life, all meaning, and all existence will one day lead to nothing. This is the final true horror that science promises. Our lives are temporary, but the universe's death is permanent. And no matter what we do, no matter how many stars we reach, we cannot stop this slide into eternal cold stillness. The greatest battle is not against a star or a comet, but against the unstoppable, slow, and silent process of decay. The terror of the empty sky. The astronomer Arthur C. Clarke famously said, "Two possibilities exist. Either we are alone in the universe or we are not. Both are equally terrifying." The quiet, empty night sky presents this paradox every time we look up. If we are alone, it means all the beauty, all the stars, and all the possibilities are utterly wasted on a single fragile planet. It means the entire cosmos is vast, empty, and silent, a colossal monument to pointlessness. This vast, silent emptiness is a profound existential terror that weighs on the mind. If we're not alone, it means there are things out there, things we cannot comprehend, things that might see us as a threat or a resource. The silence we hear is not an absence of life, but a purposeful, silent watch. In either case, the vastness of the cosmos means humanity is either terrifyingly unique or terrifyingly insignificant. The dark forest theory. The dark forest theory is a terrifying thought experiment that tries to explain why we have not heard from aliens. It suggests that the universe is not a friendly place, but a dark forest, filled with silent, lurking predators who must remain quiet to survive. In this dark forest, any civilization that reveals its location by sending a signal is immediately destroyed by another, older, more powerful civilization. The cosmic law is simple: expose yourself and you will be annihilated. Our planet's radio signals, which have been leaking into space for a century, are a loud, foolish shout in the woods. This theory turns our beautiful stars into silent watchtowers and the blackness into a hostile ocean. The silence of the night sky is not a good sign. It is a sign of universal fear, A massive conspiracy of silence where every civilization is hiding from every other. The true terror is that we have already been found. The Earth's cosmic speed. We're taught that the Earth spins around the Sun, but this is a peaceful lie. Our solar system is hurtling through the Milky Way galaxy at a terrifying speed of about 500,000 miles per hour, dragging the Earth through the vast dark emptiness with it. This incredible speed means we are constantly colliding with interstellar gas and dust. Our planet is essentially a cosmic spaceship moving at incredible velocity, and we have absolutely no control over its speed or its final destination. We are passengers on an out-of-control vehicle moving through a minefield of debris. The simple fact that you're sitting still right now while moving 500,000 miles per hour is a dizzying cosmic terror. The stars you see are not fixed. They are simply moving along with us. We are all moving toward an unknown point in the galaxy, a final destination we have no knowledge of, rushing through the dark. The dark flow's origin. The dark flow of galaxies is a massive movement of matter that cannot be explained. One theory suggests it is the lingering gravitational influence of the universe before the Big Bang. This means our universe is still being influenced by the ghost of a previous dead cosmos. This implies that the Big Bang was not a single, clean creation, but a violent birth that left our universe tethered to the gravitational pull of the one that came before it. We're not truly free. We're still being haunted by the physics of a dead world, a cosmic umbilical cord to the absolute void. The terrifying thought is that our reality is just a fragment, a leftover piece of a much larger, older existence that failed, and the forces of that older, dead cosmos are still powerful enough to drag our galaxies across billions of light years. The ultimate cosmic terror is not the unknown, but the unstoppable pull of the ghost of the past. The star's perfect aim scientists have tracked a rogue black hole that is hurtling through space at 3 million miles per hour, completely untethered from any galaxy. Its mass is immense, and it is a truly invisible, high-speed monster drifting through the galaxy, consuming anything in its path without a trace. The terrifying thing about a rogue black hole is that it is the ultimate assassin. You would never see it coming, as it emits no light. It is simply a patch of absolute perfect blackness moving at an impossible speed. If it came toward our solar system, the gravitational pull would simply tear apart our planets before we even knew it was there. This is the very definition of a cosmic horror. A colossal, invisible hunter that has been moving for billions of years and whose path is completely random. The sheer thought of this silent, fast-moving mouth of the void drifting closer to our tiny, fragile solar system is a profound and dizzying terror. The sun's toxic death cloud. When our own sun finally dies in about 5 billion years, it will first expand into a red giant. Before it fades, its outer layers will swell, vaporizing the Earth and everything on it, including the core of our planet. Our world will be consumed by the same light that gave it life. The terrifying part is not the final death, but the slow, inevitable creep of the sun's toxic heat before then. Long before the sun actually touches the Earth, its increased heat output will boil our oceans and make the planet completely uninhabitable. Humanity's home will be roasted alive by the slow, gentle anger of our own star. This is the ultimate, inescapable, local terror. The sun is a bomb that has a 5 billion year timer, and we cannot escape the blast radius. We are living on borrowed time on a planet that is doomed to be vaporized by its parent star. The only real mystery is whether we will survive long enough to watch the final, fiery kiss of death. 89 words, the terror of the voids. When you look at the cosmos on the larger scale, you don't see a uniform sea of stars. You see that the galaxies are clustered together, forming massive walls, filaments, and superclusters of matter, which are separated by colossal, terrifyingly empty spaces called cosmic voids. These voids are truly empty, stretching for hundreds of millions of light years. They contain almost no galaxies, no matter, and very little light. If you were floating in one of these cosmic voids, you would be unable to see any stars at all, making the sky a field of absolute, perfect blackness that lasts for an impossible distance. The terrifying thought is that our galactic neighbourhood is merely a tiny cell wall, and beyond it is an infinite, silent abyss. The structures we see are just the remnants of matter, desperately clinging to each other, while the true cosmic majority is nothingness. The universe is not full of things, it is full of nothing, and we are on the edge of the great, empty, silent dark. The star's toxic twin. The most massive stars have a life cycle so fast and violent that they die very young, exploding into a supernova. But before this happens, they burn through their nuclear fuel so quickly that they only live for a few million years. This means that a star you see tonight may already have died millions of years ago. The light we see is just a ghost image, a temporary memory of a star that is already gone. Every single star in the night sky has already lived an impossible life and is headed toward a violent, fiery death. You're not looking at the present, you're looking at a giant graveyard of light, full of celestial corpses. The terrifying implication is that the supernova event that destroys a solar system may have already happened, and we simply have not received the light signal of the death. The universe is full of time delays, meaning the light we see is a lie. The blackness is already moving closer, even if our eyes cannot yet see it. The vampire stars. In the universe, there are strange stars known as blue stragglers. They appear much younger and burn hotter and bluer than their neighbouring stars, which should be the same age. The terrifying reason for this false youth is that they artificially prolong their lives by being cosmic vampires. These stragglers steal hydrogen fuel from smaller, weaker neighbouring stars in a process called vampiric kissing, slowly draining the life force from them until they are completely gone. The vampire star remains unnaturally young and hot, while the victim star is left to die a slow, cold death, all in the name of cosmic survival. This fact reveals a terrifying truth. The beautiful, bright lights in the sky are not always peaceful. Some are simply predators, ruthlessly consuming their neighbours to survive. The universe rewards the strong and punishes the weak, and the blue straggler is a horrifying monument to this brutal, cannibalistic cosmic law of life and death. The zombie stars. A star dies when it runs out of fuel and collapses into a small dense core called a white dwarf. These are usually peaceful, stellar corpses, but under the right terrifying circumstances, a white dwarf can become a Type Ia supernova, also known as a zombie star. This happens when the dead white dwarf pulls so much material from a neighbouring star that it is brought back to life, crossing a critical mass known as the Chandrasekhar limit. The white dwarf then explodes into a gigantic supernova, an explosion so powerful it can outshine an entire galaxy. Death is not the end, it is only a pause. The terrifying thing is that these stars refuse to die. They are stellar revenants, brought back by a hunger for matter, and their rebirth results in a blast of such colossal destruction that it destroys everything around them. The universe is not a place of quiet rest. It is a place where the dead can return, demanding to be fed before they commit a final, horrifying act of cosmic suicide. The Great Attractor's grip, deep in space 250 million light-years away, lies a gravitational anomaly called the Great Attractor. This region of space is pulling thousands of galaxies, including our own Milky Way, toward it with an enormous, irresistible force. The terrifying part is that we do not know what is there. We cannot see the object causing this immense pull, because it is located behind the central plane of our own galaxy, hidden by a blinding cloud of stars and dust known as the Zone of Avoidance. We are being dragged toward an invisible, massive entity whose nature remains one of the universe's greatest and most chilling mysteries. The entire observable part of the universe is not stationary. We're all on a one-way path toward a gigantic, invisible object that has a stronger gravitational grip than anything we can see. We are passively moving toward a cosmic destination that we cannot see and cannot stop. We are all passengers on a terrifying, slow-motion ride to the unknown. The star's invisible shell. When a supernova explodes, it does not just send out a blinding light, it releases a colossal wave of energy, particles, and radiation. The terrifying thing is that these waves can travel for centuries, meaning the shell of a star's death is still expanding in the void, long after the explosion itself has faded. This expanding death wave is an invisible killer that continues to move through the galaxy, corrupting any dust or gas clouds it encounters. It can take millions of years for the pressure from a supernova to finally reach a distant planet, but when it does, it can trigger massive, violent events like the collapse of gas clouds into new, unstable stars. The simple fact is that the ghost of a dead star can still be a source of creation and destruction millions of years later. The universe is full of these invisible, expanding shells of stellar death, and we are constantly passing through them. We are living in a cosmic house full of silent, invisible killer ghosts from long dead giants. The galaxy of no return. Our nearest large galactic neighbour, the Andromeda Galaxy, is not moving away from us. It is hurtling straight toward our Milky Way galaxy at over 250,000 miles per hour. In about 4.5 billion years, the two galaxies will collide and merge to form a single, terrifying supergalaxy. The terrifying name already given to this future monstrosity is Milkomeda. The collision will be a long, drawn-out cosmic dance that will completely change the night sky. While stars are so far apart that individual star collisions are unlikely, the chaotic gravitational forces will fling our solar system into a completely new, unknown region of space. The end of our galaxy is not a quiet disappearance. It is a violent, colossal car crash that we are moving toward right now. Before the final merger, the Andromeda Galaxy will dominate our night sky, a terrifying, rapidly growing presence that is coming to devour our home. The terror is not if it will happen, but when our cosmic doom arrives. The star that defies death. The star designated V838, Monocerotis, briefly became one of the brightest stars in the Milky Way in 2002, but its explosion was unlike any supernova ever seen. It suddenly brightened and then quickly faded, but the light echoed outwards, illuminating the surrounding dust in a breathtaking, haunting effect. The star did not explode its core, it simply expanded its outer layers in a sudden, mysterious, and violent way. It was a flash of cosmic light that defied all known rules of stellar death. This star is a true cosmic ghost, a momentary burst of energy that no scientist can fully explain, proving that stellar death is more terrifying than we thought. The beautiful light we see is called a light echo, the light from the strange flash rippling across the dust clouds for thousands of years. It is a reminder that the universe can still produce astronomical events that are completely unpredictable and terrifyingly inexplicable. The star that should not have brightened is still sending its ghostly light to us. The planet of burning ice. Gliese 436b is an exoplanet that orbits a distant red dwarf star. The terrifying fact about this world is that it is a giant frozen ball of ice that exists at an impossible temperature of 820 degrees Fahrenheit, 439 degrees Celsius. It is a burning ball of solid water. The intense heat should vaporize the ice instantly, but the immense gravity of the planet is so powerful that it forces the water molecules to pack together tightly. The sheer density of the water locks the ice into a permanent solid state, even as it is subjected to brutal heat. It is a world where fire and ice have achieved a terrifying stable truce. This planet is a scientific nightmare that defies common sense, a perfect example of how the laws of physics can create an unimaginable horror in the dark. A traveller would be burned and frozen to death simultaneously, landing on a planet whose surface is a testament to the raw, crushing and terrifying power of gravity. The galaxy's black hole gun. Nearly every large galaxy, including our Milky Way, has a supermassive black hole at its centre. These are not passive voids, they are galactic engines. The black hole in the galaxy M87, for instance, shoots out a terrifying massive jet of plasma at nearly the speed of light. This jet is one of the most powerful cosmic phenomena, stretching for thousands of light years. It is a cosmic machine gun, randomly firing a deadly stream of energy into the void. This invisible, high-powered weapon is a permanent feature of the cosmos, showing that the universe is constantly, violently purging itself of material. The terror is that our own supermassive black hole, Sagittarius A Samsast, could one day be triggered into becoming an active galactic nucleus, unleashing a similar jet of fire that could sweep across our solar system. The universe is not just full of natural disasters. It is full of massive activated weapons whose power we cannot comprehend. The universe's largest structure. The Large Quasar Group, LQG, is the largest known structure in the universe. It is a cluster of 73 active quasars, which are the intensely bright cores of early galaxies, stretching over 4 billion light-years across at its widest point. The sheer, impossible size of this object defies the known laws of astrophysics. The discovery of the LQG breaks the fundamental cosmological principle, which states that matter should be distributed evenly throughout the universe on a large scale. This massive, impossible structure is a cosmic nightmare, a colossal object that should not exist according to our current understanding of physics. The terrifying message of the LQG is that we do not truly understand the architecture of the cosmos. Our laws are fragile and there are structures of unimaginable scale and power that exist outside of them. The universe is not orderly. It is a chaotic, unpredictable place where colossal, impossible things can simply appear out of the darkness. The star's gravity prison. A neutron star is the ultra-dense core of a star that has died. It is so compressed that a single spoonful of its material would weigh billions of tons. The gravity on its surface is so immense that if you dropped an apple onto it, the apple would hit the surface at half the speed of light. Even more terrifying, the gravity is so strong that the atoms on the surface of the neutron star are warped. The pressure is so high that electrons and protons are squeezed together, forming a perfect uniform neutron soup. This star is not made of regular matter, it is made of broken, crushed atoms. The simple truth is that a neutron star is a monument to the ultimate power of gravity. It is a small, silent killer that is only a few miles wide, but its crushing power is beyond comprehension. It is a pure, dense orb of atomic obliteration, and the thought of being anywhere near its gravity well is a profound cosmic terror. The star that eats itself. Some massive stars suffer a pulsational pair instability supernova, a catastrophic death where the star creates so much energy that it starts to tear itself apart, only to collapse and reform repeatedly. The star begins to pulse, releasing enormous, violent bursts of energy into space before finally exploding. This cycle of self-destruction is a terrifying dance of death, where the star is constantly trying and failing to die. It is a true cosmic death spiral, throwing off massive amounts of mass with each pulse. This violent internal battle means the star is killing itself slowly, and it creates a field of cosmic debris for light years around it. The star is a living internal hell, a celestial body that is literally beating itself to death. The violent pulses are a terrifying rhythm of self-annihilation, making the star a source of pure, chaotic energy. We are witnessing a star that is both predator and prey, eating itself alive in a process that takes thousands of years. the coldest place in the universe. The Boomerang Nebula, located about 5,000 light-years away, is the coldest known natural place in the universe. Its temperature is 1 degree Kelvin, which is about minus 458 degrees Fahrenheit. It is colder than the background temperature of space itself, and it is actively cooling. The nebula is so cold because the gas expanding outward from the central star is escaping at an incredibly high speed. This rapid expansion causes the gas to cool dramatically, creating a pocket of absolute profound cold that defies all cosmic laws. It is a bubble of chilling, perfect stillness in the vast, turbulent universe. The terror of the Boomerang Nebula is its absolute, perfect coldness. It is a place where motion and life cannot exist, where all energy is being sucked away. It is a chilling preview of the universe's ultimate fate, the heat death, just happening locally. It is a place of such profound silence and stillness that it is truly unnerving. The star's deadly rotation pulsars are rapidly spinning neutron stars that emit 2 terrifyingly intense beams of electromagnetic radiation from their magnetic poles. These beams sweep through space like a cosmic lighthouse. The terror comes from the fact that they are spinning so fast, sometimes hundreds of times per second. A pulsar's beam is so powerful that if it were aimed directly at a planet, the radiation would strip away the planet's atmosphere, rendering it lifeless. The Earth is constantly passing through the paths of these cosmic lighthouses, and we are only safe because no nearby pulsar is currently aimed at us. This makes the night sky a dangerous place filled with silent, spinning weapons. The stars are not fixed points. They are spinning cannons, and our solar system is moving through a cosmic shooting gallery. The most beautiful rhythmic flashes of light in the sky are actually the rotation of a colossal, silent killer. The impossible, star-sized atom. Black holes are usually formed from the core collapse of massive stars, but there is a theoretical, terrifying object called a quark star. This would be a star so dense that its core collapses past the neutron star stage, crushing all matter into an exotic state called quark matter. If a quark star were to collide with a neutron star, the quark matter could convert the neutron star's material into itself in a terrifying chain reaction, changing the neutron star into a quark star. This is a cosmic infection, a self-replicating density that would instantly and violently transform one stellar body into another. This is a thought experiment in pure catastrophic cosmic transformation. The idea of a contagion of pure, crushed matter spreading from star to star is a chilling alien concept. It shows that in the universe, the only thing more terrifying than destruction is a radical, uncontrollable change driven by the ultimate power of physics. The stellar cannibal's orbit. Some galaxies are locked in a violent, permanent cycle of stellar cannibalism. Astronomers have found gigantic, ancient stars that orbit the Milky Way in the opposite direction of the galaxy's rotation. These are the last ghosts of smaller dwarf galaxies that our Milky Way devoured billions of years ago. These reverse-orbiting stars are like the silent, corrupted atoms of our galaxy's long-dead victims. They are a constant, invisible reminder that our own home is a massive stellar killer. Our galaxy is a cannibal, constantly growing by ruthlessly consuming its smaller neighbours and assimilating their stars into its own body. The terrifying thought is that our solar system is surrounded by these ancient alien stars, the silent, orbiting ghosts of a galactic murder. We are living in a tomb, and the stars we see at night are not all native to our home. Some of them are the lingering bright remnants of a brutal billion-year-old cosmic crime. The mirror matter star. There is a theoretical possibility that a star could be made entirely of mirror matter, a dark, invisible kind of matter that does not interact with our visible universe. This would be a massive, invisible star or planet that is completely undetectable, existing in the same space as our matter. This mirror star would still have gravity, meaning a colossal, invisible mass could be lurking in the darkness, warping space and pulling on our planets, all while remaining utterly unseen. The terrifying thought is that our galaxy could be riddled with these dark, silent, massive objects that we can never prepare for or detect directly. The universe might not be what we see. It might be two universes sharing the same space, one of light and one of terrifying, silent, dark matter. A massive, invisible star could pass right through our solar system, and all we would feel is the sudden, catastrophic shift in gravity. The cosmos is full of hidden, invisible monsters, the planet-destroying comet. There is a gigantic comet, C2014 UND-271 Bernardinelli-Bernstein, that is nearly 85 miles wide, making it 50 times bigger than the average comet. It is so colossal that it was originally classified as a minor planet before being officially labelled a comet. This mega comet is travelling toward the centre of our solar system from the Oort cloud, the solar system's dark, icy shell. Although it is predicted to pose no threat to Earth, the fact that a body of this size exists and is moving inward is terrifying. It proves that there are enormous, planet-killing ice balls lurking at the edges of our home. The comet's existence shows that the solar system is not entirely mapped. The dark, distant edges are filled with colossal, unpredictable objects that could, with a small gravitational push, be sent on a direct collision course with us. This ancient terror of the unpredictable, huge wanderer is a very real modern threat. The dark side of the moon. The far side of the moon, often incorrectly called the dark side, is perfectly visible from space, but is eternally hidden from the Earth due to the moon's rotation being locked with its orbit. This hidden face has been the subject of countless terrifying conspiracy theories since we first saw it. Before humanity saw the far side, it was imagined to be a place of unimaginable mystery, where alien bases, secret Nazi technology, or ancient dark gods were hidden. This conspiracy-driven fear is a purely psychological terror, the fear of a massive close-by object that we can never see the full truth of, a cosmic secret only a few miles away. The moon is the single most familiar object in the night sky, yet half of it is always turned away, keeping its secrets perfectly hidden in the dark. This constant, silent deception is a profound cosmic terror. The moon we know is only half the story, and the hidden half remains a canvas for humanity's deepest fears. The ghost of a star's light. The star that exploded to create the famous Crab Nebula was observed by Chinese astronomers in 1054 AD. This supernova was so bright that it was visible in the daytime sky for 23 days and remained visible at night for nearly 2 years. It was a terrifying, sudden addition to the heavens. To the ancient viewers, this was a guest star, an unpredictable, fiery addition that defied the perfect order of the cosmos. It was seen as a clear and terrifying omen of war, famine and disaster across Asia and the Middle East. It was not just a light, it was a cosmic message of doom that hung in the sky for years. Even today, the Crab Nebula is still expanding, a vast chaotic cloud of gas and energy. The light we see is the ghost of a star's single violent moment of death. 1,000 years ago. It reminds us that the stars are not static. They are volatile, unpredictable bombs that can appear and change the night sky at any moment. The Pulsars cosmic crystal. The intense magnetic field of a neutron star is so powerful that it could be 1 billion times stronger than any magnet ever created on Earth. This field is so strong that scientists believe it could force the star's outer layers into an impossible, perfect, solid structure known as a crystal lattice. This means the surface of a neutron star may not be a fluid plasma, but a solid, crystalline surface of iron held together by incomprehensible magnetic forces. It is a solid, ultra-dense cosmic diamond. If you were to touch it, The gravity would crush you flat before you even made contact with a terrifyingly perfect solid crust. A neutron star is a beautiful, terrifying cosmic jewel. It is a perfect, tiny sphere of extreme physics, a monument to the ultimate compression of matter and magnetism. The star's not just burning gas, they're also creating impossible, terrifying, perfect structures in the void that defy all earthly understanding. The planet of molten glass rain. The exoplanet HD 1873b is known as a hot Jupiter, a gas giant that orbits extremely close to its star. The terrifying fact is that its atmosphere is filled with silica particles, which means that on this world it rains molten glass sideways at thousands of miles per hour. This planet appears a beautiful deep blue colour, but this colour is a terrifying lie. It comes from the light scattering off the high-speed glass particles in the atmosphere. A beautiful, inviting colour hides a deadly, constantly moving storm that would instantly vaporize any probe or ship that entered its violent atmosphere. The planet is a beautiful, deadly illusion, a world where the weather is a permanent, violent catastrophe of glass and fire. The wind speed is over 5,400 miles per hour, making it a place where both the gravity and the weather are actively trying to kill you. This is a true cosmic nightmare where the sky itself is a weapon. The planet of eternal night. The planet Gliese 581c is tidally locked to its star, meaning one side of the planet is in eternal day and the other is in eternal night. The day side is scorched and hot enough to melt metal, while the night side is frozen in absolute eternal darkness and cold. This creates a chilling, narrow Terminator line between the two extremes, which is the only potentially habitable area. Life on this line would have to exist in a permanent dim twilight, constantly living on the edge of two different absolute deaths, one by fire and one by ice. The ultimate terror is the absolute proximity of the two extremes. To take a single step in the wrong direction means instant vaporization or freezing. It is a planet where the simple act of movement is a life or death gamble, and the sky is split in half by a terrifying absolute line of cosmic physics. The star of absolute zero. The star designated Uy Scuti is a red hypergiant and is one of the largest stars ever discovered, being about 1/70 times wider than our Sun. If placed at the centre of our solar system, its outer edge would extend past the orbit of Jupiter, swallowing Earth, Mars and the asteroid belt completely. The star is so large that it defies the very concept of a star. It is a colossal, terrifying, swollen orb of energy. Its size makes our Sun look like a pinprick. The sheer scale of it forces a terrifying perspective on our place in the cosmos, knowing that a single star can casually contain our entire solar system inside of its hot, toxic body. The thought of a star so large that our entire world would simply cease to exist inside of it is a profound cosmic horror. The universe is full of these quiet giants, massive, patient killers whose only goal is to exist. The stars we see are not all gentle lights. Some are simply enormous, terrifying, space-eating monsters. The Diamond Planet's horror. The exoplanet 55 Cancri E, a super-Earth, orbits its star so closely that its surface temperature is over 4,900 degrees Fahrenheit. Because of the star's high carbon environment, scientists believe a large portion of the planet's internal structure is composed of pure crystalline carbon, in other words, a giant diamond. The terrifying reality is that this planet is a literal diamond, but it is too hot to ever land on. It is an impossible treasure, a colossal jewel that is constantly being vaporized by its star's heat. The surface is covered in seas of supercritical fluid, a hellish landscape of impossible pressure and heat. The planet is a beautiful, painful cosmic joke, a testament to the universe's cruelty. It dangles the most valuable possible object, a star-sized diamond, just out of reach, but makes it so hot that it is utterly and eternally unusable. It is a horrifying reminder that the most beautiful things in the cosmos are often the most deadly. The Rain of Iron Planet. The exoplanet WASP C76b is a gas giant with a surface temperature of over 4,500 degrees Fahrenheit. The planet is tidally locked, meaning the wind carries vaporized iron from the hot day side to the cooler night side. On the cooler side, the iron condenses into liquid metal. This means that on the dark side of this planet it literally rains liquid iron. You would be standing on a world where the weather is a permanent hot metallic death. The sky is full of falling molten metal, making the simple act of existing a constant battle against the brutal physics of the cosmos. The terror of this planet is its sheer hostility. It shows that weather in the universe is not always gentle water or snow. Sometimes it is a permanent metallic blazing acid. The universe is capable of creating environments that are actively, violently trying to destroy anything that lands on them, and the metal rain is a constant, terrifying downpour of molten death. The planet of supersonic winds. The exoplanet HD 189733b, the same planet that rains glass, also features wind speeds of up to 8,700 km per hour. This is nearly 7 times the speed of sound, making the planet a terrifying storm of supersonic wind that would rip any object or person to shreds instantly. 88 words. The colossal high-speed winds permanently distort the planet's atmosphere, swirling the glass rain and the superheated gas into a constant vortex of violence. The entire atmosphere is a single, massive, continuous weapon. The planet is not just hot or rainy. It is a permanent, deafening, supersonic tornado that never stops. The terrifying thought is that the physics of the planet have made the air itself an instrument of obliteration. The constant, high-speed movement suggests a cosmic rage that is impossible to calm. This world is a monument to the ultimate power of planetary winds, a place where the simple act of breathing would be an instant, violent death. The two-sun tearing. In the constellation of Draco, there is a star system called Kepler 16b, which is a planet that orbits 2 stars, like the fictional planet Tatooine. The terrifying fact is that the 2 suns create a gravitational nightmare, constantly pulling and tugging at the planet in a complicated, chaotic dance. The gravitational instability means that the planet is permanently stressed, constantly being pulled in 2 directions by its parents. The environment on the planet would be chaotic and unpredictable, with immense tides and seismic activity caused by the dual gravitational forces. Stability is an illusion on this 2-sun world. The terror is in the complete lack of cosmic certainty. A world with 2 suns might look romantic, but it is a physics hell. The sky is a constant reminder that your survival is at the mercy of 2 competing gravitational giants. The ultimate question is not about life, but about whether the planet will eventually be torn apart by its own parents. The universe's largest black hole. The largest known black hole in the universe is called TON 618. It is a terrifying hyperluminous quasar with a mass that is 66 billion times that of our Sun. Its size is so colossal that it redefines the very concept of a black hole, being almost impossible to visualize. The shadow of this monster black hole is so vast that it could swallow our entire solar system 11 times over. It is not just large, it is a profound cosmological impossibility. This single entity holds the mass of hundreds of billions of stars, yet it remains perfectly invisible, a true silent giant of the void. This black hole is a cosmic horror that exists to prove how small we are. It is the ultimate monument to nothingness, a colossal void so large that it should not exist under normal physical laws. The mere idea of this silent, massive killer existing hundreds of billions of light-years away is a chilling reminder of the scale of the cosmos, the rogue planet's cold wanderer. There are planets, called rogue planets, that have been ejected from their solar systems and now wander aimlessly through the interstellar darkness, completely untethered to any star. These worlds are bathed in absolute endless night and cold, moving silently through. the void. These planets are the true cosmic exiles, the silent ghosts of dead solar systems. Their surfaces would be frozen solid, and any life would have to be internal, relying on geothermal heat from the planet's core. They are worlds of eternal cold shadow, moving at high speed toward an unknown, lightless future. The terrifying thought is that our solar system could pass right by one of these invisible black wanderers without ever knowing it. They are silent, massive assassins, and if one came too close, its gravity would tear apart our delicate orbits. The universe is full of these cold, quiet exiles, and they are moving closer every second. The planet of acid fog Venus, our closest neighbour, is a world of terrifying, self-inflicted cosmic horror. Its thick atmosphere is mostly carbon dioxide, creating an uncontrollable greenhouse effect that results in a searing surface temperature of over 870 degrees Fahrenheit. The clouds are made of sulfuric acid. The terrifying part is not just the heat but the pressure. The atmosphere is 90 times denser than Earth's, which is equal to the water pressure a mile beneath the ocean. Landing on Venus would feel like being crushed and boiled alive in a permanent bath of superheated toxic acid. The planet is a cautionary tale, a perfect example of a world that went wrong. It is a mirror of Earth, showing what happens when a runaway greenhouse effect is allowed to take hold. Venus is a perfect, luminous cosmic lie, a beautiful bright star in the sky that is actually a hellish, acid-filled tomb. The star's gravity wave terror. When two black holes collide, they don't just disappear, they merge into a single, larger black hole and release a terrifying burst of pure, unadulterated energy in the form of gravitational waves. These ripples in space-time itself warp and stretch the very fabric of the universe as they travel. This is the sound of the ultimate cosmic violence. If a massive black hole collision happened close to Earth, the gravitational waves would stretch and squeeze our planet, causing massive earthquakes and tearing apart the Earth's core. The collision is a silent, physical scream of the cosmos. The terror is that these waves are invisible and unstoppable, passing through everything without interference. Every moment our bodies are being subtly stretched and compressed by the ghosts of black hole collisions that happened billions of years ago. We're all living in a cosmic funhouse mirror, constantly warped by the invisible violence of the void. The planet of water, vapor death. The planet GJ1214b is a water world, a planet that is mostly covered by an enormous super-hot ocean. The terrifying thing is that the temperature and pressure are so immense that the water is in an exotic, supercritical state. The atmosphere is a thick, toxic fog of water vapor. Below this scorching fog, the water pressure is so immense that it is believed to create hot ice, or ice set, a strange, crystalline structure of water that can only exist under high pressure. The planet is a monument to the terrifying extremes of water, a place where the liquid of life is turned into a high-pressure, superheated weapon. A traveller would be crushed, boiled, and chemically burned by the superheated, supercritical water vapour. The planet is a false promise of a peaceful ocean world. Instead, it is a perfect deep-sea hell. The universe can turn the most common and beautiful elements into a nightmarish, violent, and utterly inhospitable form of death. The star's impossible cloud. Scientists have discovered a massive, terrifying cloud of alcohol and other complex organic molecules floating in a distant galaxy. The cloud is so large that if you could convert all of its matter into wine, it would fill 400 trillion Earth-sized glasses. This cloud, called Sagittarius B2, is located near the centre of the Milky Way. The terrifying thing is that this colossal amount of complex chemistry is just floating in the empty dark, a massive, silent chemical monument. It shows that the building blocks of life are not special. They are simply the byproducts of cosmic processes. The sheer scale of this single, massive chemical cloud is a profound cosmic terror. It is a silent, unthinkably large reservoir of chemical potential, a terrifying demonstration of the universe's ability to create complex, impossible things that just drift in the blackness, utterly wasted and unappreciated. The planet of perfect black. The exoplanet WASP 104b is so close to its star that its atmosphere has been scorched into a permanent, perfect dark colour. The planet absorbs 99% of the light that hits it, making it one of the darkest worlds ever discovered, nearly invisible even to powerful telescopes. This planet is a terrifying sphere of absolute darkness, a true cosmic black hole masquerading as a world. It is a monument to the ultimate absence of light, a world that has been boiled so hot that it is now a perfect, silent absorber of all illumination. Its surface is a terrifying vacuum of light. The terror of this planet is its refusal to be seen. It is a silent, massive killer, moving through the void while drinking all the light around it. It is a chilling reminder that the universe can still produce objects that are so dark and so perfectly black that they defy our very ability to observe them, making the void itself a physical presence. The sun's impossible size. Our sun is so massive that it accounts for 99.8% of the total mass of the entire solar system. All the planets, moons, asteroids and comets are just 1/5 of 1% of the total matter. We're all living on the tiny, fragile leftovers of the sun's birth. This fact is a terrifying perspective on our own importance. We live in a star system where a single, massive entity holds all the power and all the mass. The Earth is a cosmic speck, a tiny piece of dust orbiting a colossal gravitational giant that could destroy us at any moment with a single flare. The terror is that we are utterly insignificant in our own home. The sun is our master, our creator, and our inevitable destroyer. We are not a family of planets. We are tiny atoms revolving around a massive, brilliant and volatile stellar core. The sun's power is absolute, and our existence is merely an afterthought of its colossal birth. The star's tidal tear. Some exoplanets orbit their stars so closely that the star's gravity exerts an insane amount of tidal force, constantly stretching and compressing the planet like a stress ball. This creates colossal, continuous planet-wide earthquakes and extreme volcanic activity on the surface. This process, known as tidal heating, is so violent that it turns the inside of the planet into a molten hell. The surface is a chaotic landscape of constantly breaking land and spewing volcanoes. The planet is being tortured by the gravitational grip of its own parent star, a process that never stops. The planet is a monument to the terror of inescapable gravitational violence. It is a world that is literally being ripped apart by its own creator. The stars are not just sources of light, they are also sources of pure physical torture, capable of turning an entire world into a single, chaotic, molten wound. The planet of impossible gravity. The super-Earth exoplanet. Kepler-10c is so dense that scientists were initially baffled by its enormous size and incredible mass. They believe the planet must have a rocky or icy core that is 10 times the mass of Earth, making its surface gravity unbearable. The immense gravity of Kepler-10c would be so strong that a human would be instantly crushed upon landing. Your body would simply be flattened by the pure, terrifying weight of the planet's core. Every single step would be a monumental, life-ending effort. The planet is a silent, colossal testament to the ultimate power of planetary mass. It is a world where the very ground is actively trying to kill you with its sheer, overwhelming pull. The stars can create worlds where the ultimate form of death is simply the pressure of the planet beneath your own feet. The black hole's quiet birth. The oldest known black hole in the universe, Cosmos 28, formed just 690 million years after the Big Bang. Its existence is terrifying because it means supermassive black holes formed almost instantly in the cosmic timeline, defying the traditional theory of slow, gradual growth. This colossal black hole is a silent, massive predator that appeared in the cosmos when it was just an infant. Its rapid growth suggests that the seeds of massive destruction were present from the very beginning, turning the early universe into a feeding ground for these hyper-efficient cosmic monsters. The terror of this ancient black hole is its proof that cosmic laws are flexible. It is a gargantuan ancient killer that simply was, defying the rules of time and growth. The existence of this silent, ancient void means that destruction is the most fundamental ancient process in the cosmos. The planet of eternal darkness. The star designated 2-mass J2168140 is host to a gas giant planet that orbits its star at an impossible distance, a full 1 trillion kilometers away. The planet's year lasts a terrifying 1 million Earth years, making it an eternal exile from its own star. The planet is so far from its star that it receives almost no light and exists in near absolute darkness and cold. It is a world whose primary feature is a terrifying silent loneliness. The star would be nothing more than a faint, barely visible speck, just one bright point among a billion others. The terror is the sheer, colossal distance. The planet is a monument to cosmic loneliness, an object so far from its centre that it might as well be a rogue planet. A person on its surface would live an impossible life of 1 million year-long seasons, constantly moving through the dark, cold vacuum of its eternal exile. The star that defies gravity. Hypervelocity stars are a terrifying category of star that has been violently ejected from the core of its host galaxy, usually by a close encounter with the central supermassive black hole. They travel at speeds so great, up to millions of miles per hour, that they are literally defying the entire gravitational pull of their home galaxy, becoming permanent, uncatchable cosmic exiles. The moment of their expulsion is a catastrophic silent event. The star, once a stable member of its neighbourhood, is turned into an unstoppable rogue projectile, travelling across the vast empty intergalactic void forever. It is a star condemned to profound, infinite isolation, a permanent prisoner of its own unbearable speed. The terror of the hypervelocity star is that it represents absolute cosmic destruction on a massive scale. It is a star that has been physically ripped out of its home system and will never return, revealing that the universe can weaponize its own fundamental components. This star is a luminous reminder that the central core of every galaxy is a violent machine of ejection and despair, turning stable lights into wandering, exiled ghosts, the planet of scorching snow. WASP-121b is an exoplanet so close to its star that its atmosphere is being violently blown away, but the unique terrifying feature is its scorching snow. The dayside is so hot that water vapour and metals are vaporized, but the gravity locks the elements to the planet. As the vaporized elements drift to the slightly cooler night side, the titanium and vanadium gases condense, forming bright reflective clouds. When they fall, this means that the planet experiences rain or snow made of metal, which is vaporized instantly on impact with the molten surface. This world is a metalworking forge and a terrifying paradox. It is a planet that is constantly snowing fire, a violent cycle of vaporization and condensation that never stops. The stars can create weather that is both beautiful and instantly lethal, a permanent storm of heavy metal death. The star's deadly magnetism, magnetaires, are a type of neutron star that possesses the most powerful magnetic fields in the entire universe. A magnetaire's magnetic field is so intensely powerful that if one were located halfway between the Earth and the Moon, it would instantly wipe out every credit card on Earth. These stars are not just massive, they are a threat to the fundamental order of matter. If a magnetar were only 1,000 light-years away from Earth, its magnetic field would instantly tear apart the atoms in our bodies, turning us into a cloud of atomic dust. The greatest terror of the magnetar is its silent, unseen power. It is a star whose mere presence is a promise of absolute atomic annihilation. It is a cosmic electromagnet that can effortlessly destroy human life and technology from an unimaginable distance, turning the stars into quiet, lethal magnets. The planet's missing sun. The star V838 Monocerotis, which briefly erupted in 2002, is an unsettling example of stellar unpredictability. Before its mysterious eruption, astronomers believed it had likely devoured an ancient planet or a smaller star, absorbing the mass that caused its sudden, terrifying increase in brightness. The star's mysterious pulse of light was not a gentle sigh. It was the final, violent gasp of a planet that was brutally consumed by its parent star. This makes the beautiful light echo we see today a terrifying monument, the ghost light of a planetary murder that happened long ago. The sheer terror is that our sun could also be a quiet cannibal, capable of swallowing one of our inner planets without warning, and then simply continuing its life, becoming brighter and more unpredictable. The stars you see are not always peaceful. Some are simply enormous, hungry mouths that consume their children. The star's cosmic cannibalism. Some stars exhibit the Bailey-Brocha-True syndrome, which is the process of completely consuming their own planets. As the star expands or changes orbit, its massive gravity pulls its own planetary system into its core, consuming the worlds it created one by one. Astronomers can detect the chemical signatures of consumed planets in the star's atmosphere, looking for traces of elements like lithium and iron that should not be there. This means we are finding the forensic evidence of cosmic murder, the chemical ghost of a planet that has been destroyed. The terrifying truth is that every star is a potential cannibal. Our own sun will one day become a red giant and destroy the inner planets. The gentle, bright light we see is also the light of a potential killer, a celestial monster that will eventually eat its own children, leaving no evidence but a few trace elements in its toxic atmosphere. The star's chemical kiss of death. When a massive star finally dies in a supernova explosion, it creates and releases all the heavy elements such as gold, silver, and uranium into the cosmos. The atoms that make up your body, the oxygen you breathe, and the iron in your blood were all forged in the violent death of a star. This means you are literally made of stardust, but this beautiful idea has a terrifying implication. Your very existence is a direct consequence of cosmic violence, a massive, fiery explosion that occurred millions of years ago. You're a walking, talking monument to the fiery death of a cosmic giant. The terror is that the universe uses a violent, catastrophic death as the only way to create life. Without the supernova, there would be no Earth, no gold, and no humans. We are all wearing the chemical traces of a billion-year-old cosmic assassination, a reminder that life is a byproduct of death. The black hole's quiet roar. Black holes can also merge into even larger black holes, but they don't just disappear. They merge into a single, larger black hole and release a terrifying burst of pure, unadulterated energy in the form of gravitational waves. These ripples in space-time itself warp and stretch the very fabric of the universe as they travel. The merger creates a single, larger black hole and releases a final shockwave of energy. But the most chilling part is the silence. The merger is the sound of two ultimate voids finally uniting, erasing themselves from existence in a final, perfect act of gravitational annihilation. The thought of two ultimate silent predators circling each other for millions of years is a profound, slow-motion cosmic terror. Their final act of unification is the ultimate, inescapable physical event that warps space itself. The stars teach us that the most violent acts in the universe happen in complete, terrifying silence. The planet of two faces, Saturn's moon, Iapetus, is a beautiful two-faced world. One hemisphere is as black as coal, absorbing all light, while the other side is as bright as snow, reflecting it perfectly. This perfect division makes the moon look like a gigantic, terrifying celestial yin and yang. The dark side's colour is likely caused by the moon sweeping up carbonaceous dust from another of Saturn's moons, Phoebe. This means that Iapetus is constantly being stained by the dark remnants of its neighbours, becoming a gigantic cosmic sponge for the blackness of the solar system. The terror of Iapetus is its perfect, sharp division. It is a world of absolute perfect contrast, showing the destructive and creative power of space dust. The moon is a silent, massive monument to the dual nature of the cosmos, forever living with a face of perfect light and a face of perfect absorbing shadow. The universe's final echo. The cosmic microwave background, CMB, is the faint radiation left over from the Big Bang, bathing the entire universe in a quiet, uniform glow. This light is often called the relic radiation of the universe's birth. The terrifying thought is that the CMB is a constant, universal reminder that the entire cosmos was born in a single, violent, catastrophic explosion. We are all living in the final, fading glow of the universe's most violent event. The universe is not silent. It is constantly whispering the sound of its own birth. The CMB is the ultimate cosmic ghost, the faint memory of a moment of unimaginable fire and chaos. Every television or radio set picks up this noise as static, meaning that even in your home, you're constantly listening to the ancient fading echo of the Big Bang. The stars are beautiful, but their light is just the final decay of the universe's violent creation. The star's time warp. The star V404 Cygni is a black hole binary system located in the constellation Cygnus. Its mass is so dense and its gravity is so extreme that it warps the time of any object or person who comes near it, a phenomenon predicted by Einstein. If a traveller were to spend a week near this star, they would return to Earth to find that decades or centuries had passed for everyone they knew. The star is a literal time machine of destruction, capable of erasing a person's entire life and family in a few short hours. The sheer terror is the complete lack of control over one's own timeline. The stars can create pockets of physics where time itself is no longer uniform. The black hole is a silent, massive killer that doesn't just destroy bodies. It can destroy an entire lifetime with a single, massive tug of its gravitational pull. The death of the smallest star red dwarf stars are the smallest, least energetic and most common type of star in the universe. They burn their nuclear fuel so slowly that their lifespans are measured in trillions of years, far longer than the current age of the universe. The terrifying implication of this longevity is that when the universe finally enters its cold, dark phase of heat death, these red dwarfs will be the last stars to go out. They will be the final silent sentinels, burning a dim, weak red light for trillions of years in an otherwise empty, dead cosmos. The terror is the absolute, crushing loneliness of their eventual fate. They are destined to watch every other star and galaxy fade away, becoming the last lonely lights in a universe of eternal darkness. The red dwarf is a star that burns so slowly that it guarantees its own profound, infinite solitude. The planet of perpetual storms. Jupiter's great red spot is a terrifying, massive, centuries-old hurricane. It is so enormous that it is wider than the Earth itself, and it has been raging continuously for at least 350 years, with wind speeds reaching over 400 miles per hour. The terror of the Great Red Spot is its relentless, incomprehensible duration. It is a permanent, chaotic wound on the planet's surface that will not heal. The constant, high-speed winds and massive size are a profound testament to the ultimate, relentless power of planetary weather systems. This hurricane is a permanent, massive natural disaster that never stops, wound on a star system that is as old as human history. It reminds us that even our closest neighbours are worlds of incomprehensible, endless violence. where the very act of existing is a state of perpetual chaotic storm. The universe's secret recipe. Dark matter is a terrifyingly invisible substance that makes up about 85% of the total mass of the universe. We cannot see it, we cannot touch it, and it only interacts with our visible matter through gravity. The cosmos is mostly composed of something we can never observe. Dark matter is the invisible, gravitational scaffolding that holds galaxies and clusters of galaxies together. Without it, the universe would simply fly apart. The terrifying thought is that you are walking through a sea of invisible, massive, non-interacting particles every second of your life. The existence of dark matter proves that the world we see is a small, insignificant fraction of reality. We are living in a giant house where the walls and beams are all made of an invisible, silent material that controls our fate. The stars are beautiful, but they're just tiny flecks of light clinging to an invisible, massive monster. The stars' false promise. Stars like our sun are not perfectly stable spheres. They are giant, turbulent, magnetic balls of plasma. When they release solar flares, they are unleashing enormous, unpredictable bursts of high-energy radiation that can travel across space and disrupt life on Earth. The sun's seemingly gentle light is a constant, terrifying lie. Beneath the peaceful appearance is a constant battle of magnetic fields that can erupt into a violent storm at any moment. Every solar flare is a reminder that our existence is dependent on the unpredictable, fiery temper of our parent star. The ultimate terror is the star's ability to turn on us without warning. The sun gives life, but its violence is only dormant. The knowledge that a single, unpredictable magnetic snap from a star 93 million miles away could destroy our power grid and send us back to the Stone Age is a profound cosmic threat. The universe's expanding terror. The ultimate fate of the universe is not just the slow, cold heat death. A more terrifying possibility is the Big Rip, where the acceleration of the universe's expansion becomes so extreme that it eventually tears apart all matter. This terrifying expansion would start by separating galaxy clusters, then tearing apart individual galaxies, then stars, then planets, and finally, the forces holding atoms together would fail. The very atoms that make up your body would be ripped apart by the sheer, unadulterated violence of expanding space. The universe itself would become the ultimate killer, not through a bang, but through a slow, quiet stretching that ends with all matter being reduced to lonely, disconnected subatomic particles. The stars would simply be torn to pieces by the fabric of space itself, revealing their fragile nature. The stars' impossible shape, neutron stars, are not perfectly round. They are so incredibly dense and spinning so fast that they are actually shaped like slightly squashed flat spheres. This tiny imperfection in their shape means they constantly emit subtle, rhythmic gravitational waves. This means the fastest spinning stars in the universe are subtly stretching and compressing the very fabric of space around them with every turn. The star's gravity is literally screaming a perfect physical rhythm into the cosmos, and we can only detect its sound with massive, specialized instruments. The terror of this fact is that the stars are not silent. They're constantly singing a song of violent, rhythmic physics. Every rotation is a physical distortion of reality. The universe is full of these tiny, imperfect, massive spheres that are subtly warping all of existence with every terrifyingly fast spin. The universe's last lights. After the red dwarf stars finally burn out, the very last lights in the universe will be black dwarf stars, which are the cooled, dark remnants of white dwarfs. These final stellar corpses will eventually cool to the background temperature of the cosmos. These black dwarfs will be silent, perfectly dark spheres of matter, floating in the eternal cold blackness. They will not emit any light or heat, making them completely invisible. They will be the final, silent ghosts of stars that once shone so brightly. The terrifying thought is that after trillions of years, the universe will become a massive pitch-black graveyard of these silent, invisible corpses. There will be no light, no warmth, and no energy, just the vast, cold stillness of these dark spheres. The stars are all destined to become cold, silent, invisible monuments to the end of all things. The planet of perpetual dusk planets orbiting red dwarf stars live in a perpetual state of twilight. Because red dwarfs are so dim, the light they emit is a deep, unnerving red. This means the sky is locked in an eternal bloody sunset, where the only shadows are dark red and stretched. Life on such a planet would have to adapt to this unsettling dark red glow, living in a constant state of cosmic anxiety. The very light of the day would look like a wound in the sky. It is a world where the concept of a bright white day simply does not exist. The terror is the absolute change in perception. Our life relies on a bright yellow sun, but these worlds live under the eerie, eternal shadow of a dying ember. The constant red light is a terrifying reminder that their parent star is only burning barely enough to keep them from freezing in the deep dark. The galaxy's silent scream. When two galaxies collide, the supermassive black holes at their centres are flung together in a violent gravitational dance. Astronomers believe that sometimes these merged black holes are violently ejected from the new galaxy entirely, causing a recoiling black hole. This black hole is essentially the ultimate cosmic criminal, violently spat out of its home galaxy, travelling through the void at millions of miles per hour. It is a colossal, massive monster that has been exiled, leaving a wake of gravitational chaos in its path. The terror is the silent chaos it leaves behind. The black hole's violent ejection would cause a sudden, catastrophic shift in the galaxy's structure. The largest entity in the cosmos is turned into an unstoppable rogue assassin, wandering the intergalactic dark with no purpose but its own enormous, unstoppable mass. The star's perfect illusion. Gravitational lensing is a terrifying phenomenon predicted by Einstein. The gravity of a massive object like a galaxy or a cluster of galaxies can be so immense that it bends and magnifies the light from more distant stars. This bending light creates terrifying, distorted and multiple images of the same distant star. You're not seeing the star where it actually is. You're seeing a shattered, distorted, terrifying illusion of the star, a trick played on your eyes by the immense gravity of the cosmos. The terror of gravitational lensing is that the universe is not always true. The light you see is a lie, warped by the sheer, invisible mass of things you cannot perceive. The stars are beautiful, but they are also part of a gigantic cosmic funhouse mirror where reality is constantly twisted by the silent power of gravity. The universe's final mystery. The universe is so immense that our entire observable cosmos, everything we can see, from the closest star to the most distant galaxy, is merely a tiny, insignificant bubble. Beyond this bubble lies an infinite, unknowable and terrifying expanse. We can never know what lies outside our cosmic bubble, because the light from those regions will never reach us due to the accelerating expansion of space. This means there are infinite possibilities, infinite horrors, and infinite truths that will be forever hidden from humanity. The final, absolute terror of the stars is that our entire reality is only a fraction of what is. The stars we see are the only ones we will ever know, forever separating us from the true, infinite nature of the cosmos. Our greatest fear is not what we know about the stars, but the infinite, silent terror of what we can never know. We have traversed the sky, from the ancient mythological omens to the chilling modern reality of cosmic physics. You have seen the stars are not gentle diamonds, but silent, chaotic assassins, always moving, always consuming, always ready to break the laws of their own existence. Share this journey into the blackness with those who still believe the night sky is peaceful. Hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and let us know in the comments. Which of these 100 cosmic terrors keeps you awake at night? We will return when the moon is full and the shadow is long to reveal the next set of forbidden truths. The script is complete, but the mystery is not. Every star you see, every gentle shimmer of light, is a lie manufactured by immense distance and a time delay. You're staring at a massive graveyard, full of stellar corpses, invisible killers, and the ghosts of planets that died billions of years ago. The greatest comfort of the night sky is also its greatest terror. The vastness is not a blanket of safety, but an open ocean of unpredictable physics and silent, endless destruction. Remember this when you look up next time. The terror of the stars is not that we are alone, but that whatever else is out there, it is entirely beyond our comprehension.